Hey there! Today I want to look at the pros and cons of the outdoor phone XP5560 from Sonim. And especially I want to know if the phone has a good usability in outdoor situations and also if it is a good choice in case you're just looking for a simple backup phone. Which brings me to the reason why I came to it. I was just looking for a simple outdoor phone for my dad, who likes working in the woods and recently had a little tiny accident where he luckily wasn't hurt, but I thought it might be a good idea that next time he's going there alone, he takes a phone with him, so he can call me for help in case. So let's start looking at the hardware. My first impression when I took it out of the packaging was that this phone is really durable and it feels really everlasting. The material on the outside seems really excellent, and I mean this in two ways. First, when you're working outdoor, you might have sweaty hands and normal phone might easily slip. Here, the material really gives you a nice grip, which also comes from these little notches they put here all along the sides. And second, even though the material has a good grip, at the same time, it's not sticky at all. So you can still put it easily in and out of your pockets. Looking at the size of the phone, it's surprisingly compact, and even though it's around about 25 millimeter thick, it still fits into my pocket easily. Looking at the weight, it's around about 190 grams, which is compared to my iPhone XR, it's less because iPhone XR has 220 grams. So I think you can say it's good to have it for traveling. The hardware also comes then with most outdoor features you can expect here. It's shock resistant, it's scratch resistant, and of course water resistant. Headphones are made of a kind of a synthetic material I saw, and they are also waterproof. Next, gonna have a quick look at the battery. In my test here, it was able to stay in the standby mode for about 34 days, which I think is pretty cool. Reception and audio quality was also okay, but of course I think that depends on your mobile provider and also on the connectivity you have. So let's look at the software functionalities. I don't want to go too deep here, but quickly want to mention some of them. There is, for example, the SOS button, which I think is really a nice feature to have for an outdoor phone. And then what was surprisingly nice were the amount of multiple pre-installed languages you have on the phone. Beside that, you have, of course, a lot of things that are common, like a camera, media player, a calculator, audio recorder, stopwatch, and even a browser and an ebook reader. I don't know if this is a common outdoor feature, but I have to say, reading an ebook on this tiny little display is not the first thing that comes to my mind. And there we are at the downsides of the phone. The problem why the phone doesn't really work for me is because it is just not easy to use. Basically, that's because of the tiny hardware buttons, which are also much too close to each other, which makes it really difficult to use when you have bigger fingers like me, or it's just cold outside and your fingers are stiff. So don't even think about trying this with gloves. Coming to the second problem for me, which are the tiny fonts on the display. I think they pretty well understood the reasons why people are buying an outdoor phone and what hardware requirements come with that. But I think they didn't look at the environments and situations people are using this phone in. I mean, from my perspective, it's not about displaying as much content and functions on this tiny little screen as possible, right? It's about the right functions and how I can access and use them easily in a certain environment. Finally, I was wondering why they decided to place a hardware button on the side of the phone to access the Java software update. I think, well, this is a feature you hopefully don't have to use every day, also in case you're a software developer. But instead, why the heck don't they put a torch functionality there? I mean, this is something you would expect, right? So in a nutshell, when you buy this phone, you will get, I think, an excellent piece of hardware that really seems to last forever. But the downside is, I have to say, the usability. I hope this quick tour was helpful for you. See you next time. Cheers.